Crossroads. Each Crossroads story is based on the actual experiences of American clergymen, pastor, priest, or rabbi, the men who give inspiration and guidance to people at the crossroads of life. These dramatic stories are presented with the cooperation of our Board of Advisors, Captain Maurice M. Witherspoon, Father George B. Ford, and Dr. William F. Rosenblum.
When a minister has preached in the same church for more than 3 decades, his storehouse of memories is mighty full. Memories of births, marriages, deaths, of peace and war, of good times and bad, memories shared with my congregation, some of whom were present the first time I preached here. The good country physician, Dr. Stockton, the preserver of law and order, Sheriff Ralston, the town banker, Fred Gruber. But the strongest memory of them all was the first time I saw the big sombrero. All through the service that Sunday, the man in the big sombrero just stood there. I'd never seen him before, and I didn't know then. But after that day, I never saw him again. And so I say to you, we must face the future together, united, a free people in a free world, able to worship our Lord in the way of our choosing. Let us pray.
Mighty fine sermon, Pastor.
Good as usual.
Pastor, I'd like to talk to you. I'll wait for you in the vestry.
All right, Fred.
You going my way, Doc?
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
You speaking to me, mister?
Yes, sir. I don't remember seeing you here before.
I've never been here before.
No, but I couldn't help noticing you, my friend.
You never saw me before in your life.
And I'll never forget you either. You're the first man to ever wear a hat in my church.
I didn't think I was doing anything wrong.
No, I'm sure you didn't. And I'm certain it won't happen again.
You're right, mister. It won't happen again.
But you didn't tell me your name. Do you know who that man is?
I've been sexton of the church ever since it was built, but I never laid eyes on him before.
Strange.
What's the matter with him? Hasn't he ever been in a church before?
He didn't say. Didn't even tell me his name.
He didn't put anything in the plate either. $5.21 in all.
Well, you'd think a man in a hat that big would be able to spare a quarter, wouldn't you? Come in.
Forgive me for interrupting.
That's all right. Come in. Come in.
I hope you won't be angry when I tell you where I found this. On the pulpit. Smack dab on the pulpit.
What do you know about that?
You're not angry?
Mr. Grimshaw, you won't believe this, but just before you knocked on the door, I was thinking about the sombrero and wondering what had happened to the man who wore it.
You were?
Yes. Are you sure he hasn't been to church since that first Sunday?
Positive. RFD 111, J. Willoughby, Silver Mine Ranch. That's way over the other side of the canyon.
Well, at least we found out his name. J. Willoughby. Willoughby. Isn't there some kind of legend attached to him?
Sure. No trespassing. Keep out. This means you. Nobody ever goes near the Silver Mine Ranch. That's a fact.
That's strange. Very strange.
Aren't you going to open it up and see what's inside?
Close, please find 2 checks. Divide the larger equally between the Methodist Women's Foreign Mission Society and the Presbyterian Women's Foreign Mission Society. The other is for the church to do with as you wish. J. Willoughby.
Checks. Probably not worth the paper they're printed on.
Mr. Grimshaw.
Oh, now, don't get upset, sir.
But this check is for $10,000. And the other for $1,000.
Well, that beats anything. Now, why would any man want to do a fool thing like this?
Yeah. Suppose the checks are good.
Oh, sir, calm yourself.
No, I mean it. For all we know, Mr. Willoughby might be a very wealthy man.
For all we know, he may be just an eccentric old crank. Oh, now, sir, before you run off and do anything foolish, why don't you sit down and think things over?
Because, Mr. Grimshaw, I've been pastor of this church for 30 years, over 30 years. And in all that time, I've never had a contribution for more than $11.
Oh, but at least that was cash money. This is just some kind of a joke, sir.
Joke? If the bank says these checks are good, this is going to be the one joke I'm going to laugh at for the rest of my life. To my astonishment, Mr. Gruber, the president of the bank, informed me that the 2 checks were as good as gold. I can't believe it. I just can't believe it.
Well, what I can't believe is that Willoughby would give them to you in the first place. That man hasn't a friend in the county. Never even tried to make one.
Well, he's made one now, and I intend to go out to the Silver Mine Ranch and tell him so.
Parson, I wouldn't do that if I were you. No one ever visits the Willoughby Ranch. That's the way he wants it.
And it's not the way I want it. I'm going out there to thank him personally.
Believe me, I've handled the Willoughby accounts for 25 years. And aside from talking dollars and cents, we've never exchanged 2 words together. He's a lonesome, bitter man. That's why he lives way out in the back country.
But what's behind all the mystery, Fred? There must be some reason for his bitterness.
Well, years ago, just before you came here, we had an epidemic of typhoid fever. Swept the whole county. People dying like flies. Willoughby's mother was stricken, and before the doctor could get to her, she died. The preacher couldn't get out of his sickbed. The undertaker had his hands full. Willoughby had to bury his own mother alone, without a friend by his side. He felt that his neighbors had let him down. He hated the whole town. He moved over the other side of the canyon and barred his gates to everyone, and that's the way it's been for over 30 years.
Oh, well, that explains his bitterness. But it doesn't explain these checks.
He's not a man to fool with, Parson. There's some nasty stories about the way he runs that place with a hand of iron.
You trying to scare me, Fred?
Well, if you don't believe me, maybe you'll believe the sheriff. Hey, Jeff.
What can I do for you, Fred? Howdy, Parson.
Ask Jeff if you don't believe me.
Ask me what?
Later. Excuse me, I have a call to make. Neither J. Willoughby's signs or reputation disturbed me in the least. All I could think about was what had drawn this hot-tempered, friendless man to the church. More important, I had to hear for myself what had prompted such generosity.
Don't come any further. Maybe you've never seen a shotgun go off.
Or maybe I fired one before you were born.
Who are you?
I'm the Reverend Charles Brown, from the church just over the canyon.
What do you want?
I want to return this hat to Mr. J. Willoughby.
He's not here.
When will he be back?
Not for a spell.
If you don't mind, I've come a long way. May I have a cup of coffee?
Yes,
Thank you, Mrs.
miss. Miss Doty, I'm the housekeeper here. And if he is too ignorant to tell you, his name's Jagger.
I'm the foreman. Mr. Willoughby doesn't like visitors. I don't like visitors, and that's all I have to say.
This is a very nice old piece, isn't it?
Belonged to his mother.
It's her over there.
Hot coffee for Reverend Sir.
What'd you have to do? Get dressed up for the occasion? Why, you clumsy, stupid bungling. Wipe it up.
Oh, there's no harm done.
It's a good coffee, hot coffee. You like more, I make. Also have a hot steak, fried chicken, good cake. My name's Sam Lou. Reverend Sir.
Thank you, Sam, but this coffee will suit me fine. Haven't you any idea when Mr. Willoughby might be back?
When he gets here, he'll be back. Better finish your coffee, Parson, and move on. We've got work to do.
Thank you, I'm leaving now. But first, I'd like to thank the cook.
You've worked for J. Willoughby for so long that you're beginning to act just like him. Not even human.
You should talk.
I want to thank you for the coffee. It was delicious. What's the book you're reading?
This is the Bible. I am Christian, just like you.
Well, that's nice to know, Sam. Sam, would you take a message to Mr. Willoughby for me?
Very happy to.
Thank you. Tell him Reverend Charles Brown came to thank him. Tell him I want him to call at any time and let me know if I can help him. Will you do that?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Sam. May I go out this way? That night, I stayed up much later than usual, working on my sermon for the coming Sabbath. My subject was charity, prompted primarily by Mr. Willoughby's gift. I kept wishing I knew more about him and the reason for his generosity, to learn what wondrous spiritual force had suddenly possessed the strange, withdrawn man. What had forced him to step forward and acknowledge the presence of the Lord? Abruptly, I made up my mind before going any further. I knew I had to see Mr. Willoughby again. Mr. Lou, this is a surprise. Come in. What brings you here at this hour tonight?
Please excuse late hour, Reverend Sir. But you say, let you know if you can help.
That's right, I did. What's wrong?
Mr. Willoughby, he come back sick, very sick. Miss Doty, she say get doctor. Jagger, he say no. You help.
Well, of course I help. I'll call Dr. Stockton at once.
You call sheriff too.
Why?
Silver Mine Ranch, very strange place. Reverend Sir, you call sheriff.
Get me Sheriff Ralston, please.
How long has Mr. Willoughby been ill?
I don't know.
But you knew last night he needed a doctor. Or don't you know the answer to that either? Is it true you tried to prevent Sam Lou from leaving the ranch?
Why, you...
It's the truth.
Now, look here, China boy. I don't know what kind of lies you've been telling, but I'm going to beat the...
It's no lie, it's the truth.
Now, look here. I'm the foreman here. I run this ranch the way Mr. Willoughby wants me to. Do you think I need a Chinese cook tell me what to do?
Right now, I'm telling you what to do.
And you've got no right to come in here and give me orders.
There's something phony going on around here, and I'm going to find out what it is.
Gentlemen, please. This is no time for arguments. There's a sick man in the house. Is he going to be all right, Doctor?
He's dead.
What was the cause of death?
Coronary thrombosis. He'd obviously been suffering for some time.
Did you know that Mr. Willoughby had a heart condition?
How would I know? I'm not a doctor.
Miss Doty?
He never talked.
You what? What about you, Sam?
Boss no talk. Only when he get mad. Now he no get mad no more.
To my foreman, Jagger, and my devoted housekeeper, Miss Doty, I leave each the sum of $50,000 along with the deed to the Silver Mine Ranch to be shared jointly. To Sam Lou, my cook, I leave the sum of $5,000 and the right to live on the Silver Mine Ranch for the rest of his life. Unless each of the beneficiaries adhere to the stipulations herein stated, this will can be contested.
I beg to offer one more thing. Mr. Willoughby leave this package with Sam Lou. He say to give to Reverend Sir. This last thing I do for boss.
I think you'd better handle this, Fred.
This is a new will made out by Mr. Willoughby, notarized by the county clerk and superseding all other last wills and testaments. To my foreman, Jagger, and my housekeeper, Miss Doty, each of whom I now realize would rather see me dead than alive, I leave the sum of $1 each. To the pastor of the Congregational Church, I leave a donation of $1,000.
But the rest of the money? What about the rest of the money?
And the sum of $100,000 to be divided equally between the Methodist Women's Foreign Mission Society and the Presbyterian Foreign Women's Society. Finally, to Sam Lou, my only faithful employee, I leave the balance of my cash assets and the deed to the Silver Mine Ranch. Well, Sam, what do you think of that?
God work his miracle in wonderful way.
Are you going away?
Yes?
Jagger, too? Where are you going?
Someplace. Any place. I'm not sure yet.
I know. It just doesn't seem right, does it?
It is right. It's right that Jagger and I both leave here. Neither one of us fooled Mr. Willoughby for a minute. We were waiting for him to die. Positive that all this would be ours.
Oh, no. I'm sure you don't mean that, Miss Doty.
Once I did. Sam Lou changed all that.
Sam Lou? What's he got to do with it?
Oh, not Sam Lou personally, but what he believed.
I don't understand.
For years, Mr. Willoughby and Jagger made Sam Lou's life miserable. Criticizing the food he cooked, the way he served it, shouting at him, cursing and swearing from morning till night. And never once in all those years did Sam raise his voice in protest, except in Mr. Willoughby's rage, his temper and abuse. Then, one night...
Sam!
Sam! Oh! Why don't you answer me, blast you?
You all right, Mr. Willoughby?
I'll get him myself.
Didn't you hear me call you?
Sorry, boss. I cannot hear when I read.
Read? Why, you can't even speak English.
But I read in Chinese.
You read what?
This is the Bible, the Holy Bible in Chinese.
You mean to say this is the Bible?
This is really the Bible.
Where did this book come from?
It come from China.
Well, how did it get here?
In a trunk.
Trunk? What are you talking about?
In my trunk. My mother put it in the trunk.
Are you trying to tell me that your mother was a Christian?
Oh, yes, sir.
And you like the Bible?
I like the Bible. I live by the Bible.
Now I understand why you never answer me back. When I shout at you, curse you. The Bible tell you to do that?
Bible say you turn other cheek. I can do something for boss.
You have already, Sam. I'm all right.
Don't it beat all? I can remember my father bawling my mother out for sending money to Chinese missions.
Supposing that money bought a Chinese Bible, and it was sent over to China, and somehow or other, Sam's mother got a hold of it and made a Christian out of her. And suppose, as Sam said, that little old Chinese lady put that Bible in her trunk and Sam brought it all the way across the Pacific Ocean to this ranch here. So what happens? My mother's son bawls him out and curses him, makes his life miserable. All he does is read the Bible and forgive me. Just like any decent Christian would do.
And to tell the truth, Pastor, I don't think Mr. Willoughby ever did find out.
I prefer to think he did, Miss Sturdy.
You ready to go?
Goodbye, sir.
Goodbye, Miss Sturdy. God bless you.
Come on, come on.
Goodbye, Sam. Aren't you even going to say goodbye?
Nobody asked you to go. It mean you too, Mr. Jagger. I fixed big supper for Reverend Sir.
Pastor must be starved. I'll set 2 more places.
After you.
You first, sir.
When a minister has preached in the same church for more than 3 decades, his storehouse of memories is mighty full. Memories of births, marriages, deaths, of peace and war, of good times and bad. Memories shared with my congregation.